Prime Minister Howard was in Washington when the attacks took place. He's offered Australia's support and sympathy to the United States and has cut short his official visit.
John Howard faced the media in Washington only minutes after the first terrorist strike on the World Trade Center towers, and he was clearly shaken.
Could I just say before I start on any domestic things how horrified I am at what I've just heard regarding what's happened in New York.
As the Prime Minister answered questions, an American Airlines Boeing 757 slammed into the Pentagon, America's key military command centre, within sight of Mr Howard's hotel.
It appears to be a most horrific, awful event that will obviously entail a very big loss of life. Oh, dreadful, just appalling, awful.
Just 400 metres away, Australian television cameramen were caught up in the chaos at the White House as security was placed on full alert and federal buildings around the Capitol began to be evacuated.
Folks, we need you to clear out this area immediately!
Mr Howard, his wife Jeanette and son Tim were rushed to the safety of a bunker at the Australian Embassy, now under the armed guard of the US Secret Service. The Prime Minister was briefed on the tragic events unfolding around the United States and emerged 3 hours later to read a message he'd sent to the United States President on behalf of the Australian people.
In the face of an attack of this magnitude, words are always inadequate in conveying sympathy and support. You can, however, be assured of Australia's resolute solidarity with the American people at this most tragic time. My personal thoughts and prayers are very much with those left bereaved by these despicable attacks upon the American people and the American nation.
Mr Howard joined the international condemnation of the attacks.
I can only hope, as I know all decent people around the world will, that those responsible for this despicable series of attacks upon the United States will be hunted down and meted out the justice that they so much deserve.
From Washington, the Prime Minister was scheduled to fly to New York tomorrow for talks with United Nations Secretary-General Kofi Annan and a series of meetings with local business leaders. But that program has now been cancelled.
Obviously, in the light of what's happened, it's unlikely that I will complete my program.
But there's no firm indication when the Prime Minister will leave for home. He's expected to stay in Washington for at least a day, where he'll watch the events unfold. In Washington, Nigel Blunden, National 9 News.